Greetings, guys, gals, non-binary pals, and welcome back to another video. Something that fascinates me greatly is just all forms of relationship dynamics that exist. And obviously, I've made a lot of videos talking about toxic parents and the relationship between parents and their children. I've talked about siblings, I've talked about partners, I've talked about a whole bunch of different relationship dynamics, but one relationship dynamic that I have not ever dived into is roommates. I was scrolling through Reddit looking for sort of video ideas recently, and I encountered this one subreddit called r/bad roommates, and I was like, I'm gonna go just have a peek. I wonder what's going on with roommates. It surely, it can't be that bad. Boy, oh boy, was I shocked by how terrible some roommates can be. Oh my god. I ended up spending hours scrolling through this subreddit, just completely jaw on the floor. Some people are just really terrible to live with, and I'm so sorry to anyone who has to live with a bad roommate. I personally cannot imagine living with a stranger. That sounds like it could be an absolute disaster. When I first moved to London, I moved in with my auntie and uncle, and I was expecting to have to eventually move out and get a room in a shared house. The idea of it kind of terrified me, but I am a New Girl enjoyer, as in New Girl is my comfort show. It is my favorite show. I watch it literally on loop. So I had reasonably high expectations for what that could look like. Ultimately, in the end, I ended up being able to move in with my best friend. We've lived together 4 years, and then in a few months I'm moving in with my partner. I've never had to live with strangers. I cannot imagine living with strangers. I'm able to decorate my house how I want, and I have all the common spaces and everything because I live with people that I love and care about. So I can't imagine having to give that up, you know? And I'm really glad for it, because for a lot of people, seemingly, you do not get the fun, New Girl, everyone's a family, half of you get married kind of situation, you know? That's not... Maybe that happens sometimes, but it doesn't always happen. And this subreddit made it very clear how far the other way that can go. And I needed to share some of this because I need to know how some of you fare with roommates. How many of you live with strangers? How many of you have had bad experiences? Please let me know in the comments any bad roommate experiences you've had, or any good ones, just to kind of, maybe there are people watching this who are thinking of moving out of home and need to get a flat share. I'm so sorry if I traumatize you and this is confirming all of your worst fears. I'm sure that there are good roommates. If you think you would be a good roommate, then others exist too. Because, just make sure you know what you're getting into and have a way to get out if you need to. And I'm sorry if I traumatize you in advance. There's your warning. If you enjoy this video, please do not forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It really, truly does help me out. I am trying to hit 500k subscribers by the end of the year, so it really does mean a lot to me if you do hit subscribe. I've been told that my videos are not showing up in subscription boxes recently as well, so even if you are subscribed, if you want to just double check and also click the little bell, I upload a few times a week, so you don't want to miss a video. Maybe you haven't been seeing them and now you will get to see my beautiful face more often. Let's get into this. I'm gonna start with the first one that I saw when I clicked on this, just so you can understand how far into the deep end of this I was thrown straight away. And that reads, roommate spitting on my utensils in shared kitchen. What can I do? I live in a shared rental house, and one of the other tenants has been spitting on my utensils, sticking raw meat on them, tampering with cookware in the common kitchen. I have video evidence of this behavior. This feels like a serious health and safety violation. What can I legally do in this situation? And there is a video of this person spitting on their fingers and spitting in the pan and putting stuff in the pan and spreading his spit around. Pardon? What? I don't understand people. Because truly, what are you getting out of this? I just don't understand what powers you to do something like this. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Is it this power thing that these people have where it's I spit on it, they don't know, but I know that they're eating my spit. I know that I've done something to them and I have power over them in this situation. They don't know that I've done something that fucks with them. Because that's horrifying and concerning, and I implore you to seek help and also to not live with other people. or interact with people. I don't know what legally you can do in this situation. Like, I mean, you captured it on camera, so surely I would love to say, here's the thing, is the problem is that these people are all renting and so have landlords, and for the most part, landlords kind of suck and they're kind of shit and they don't care. So like, if you went to your landlord with this, I imagine it's not in like a direct violation of the tenancy. Maybe it is. I don't know what a shared flat tenancy looks like. Hopefully something can be done. Otherwise, fuck, man. Do you have to start keeping like all of your shit in your bedroom? How fucking annoying would that be? Having to start keeping like the cutlery, pots, pans, like all of that you have to start keeping in your room. And then like what? Then you've got to hide your like toothbrushes and everything. You can't have anything of your own outside of your bedroom. And then your bedroom becomes just overly cluttered. Just seems like an absolutely terrible situation to live in, especially because you have to see this person. Like, even if you keep in your rooms all the time, you're gonna pass each other. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. This fucking sucks so bad. I cannot believe there are people that are like this and that do this. I hope that he gets kicked out. I hope that something happens in which the situation is rectified. I hope he gets kicked out and that he struggles to find a new place to live and he has to go live with... I don't want to wish him on anyone. I don't want to wish homelessness on anyone, but I also don't want to wish him on anyone else. So I hope he finds a small flat that he can live in by himself. That's what I hope. Roommate expects me to cover her sister's bills. This is so crazy, lol. I'm actually dead. She called me up 2 months ago saying her sister was getting evicted and she'd be staying with us for a while. I highly doubt she's ever leaving. And that she would be covering her sister's portion of the bills. Now she wants to switch up and say this. Girl, I don't care what you're talking about. I'm not dishing out an extra $300 a month for someone that I barely know. That's your sister, not mine. Bye. And these are what the messages say. I'm fine splitting this last Wi-Fi bill between us, but once the payment period is over, I'm going to shut the Wi-Fi off or change the password, and we'll be paying 1/3 of the bills, like the electricity and gas, to my mom. My little sister is a college student with no job. She's not paying no bills. The Wi-Fi is literally our bill. So what are you talking about? Every bill is our responsibility. She lives here and is using the Wi-Fi, so why would I pay that portion? No, because it was the same when blank was here. He was using the Wi-Fi, electric, gas, and was paying. I'm just letting you know, I already let my mom know I'm sending her 1/3 of the bills, same as for this month's rent. I sent her blank amount. I mean, I think that's valid, right? Like, I think that's very fair. If you're living in a house, you don't have to pay for the other people that are living in the house. If a third person moves into the house, then they should have to cover their shit. Seemingly, she's been covering for a long period of time already at this point. And like, it's this thing of like, I understand the other perspective of the being like, she is a college student, she doesn't have any money, how can she pay for this? And you know, it's nice to have somewhere to live where you don't have to pay for electricity and gas and rent and whatever, of course. But on the other side, like, this other girl, the person who is posting this, shouldn't have to cover that burden herself, because she is clearly in a situation where she has to live with a flatmate anyway. She is in a situation where she is already likely struggling to meet these expenses, and she's having to pay extra on top of that because there is another person living there. If there is a person living there, they have to pay their share. And if they are living with you on your invitation, if you don't want them to pay anything, you pay for their part. So that means you have to shoulder 2/3 now. It is not someone else's responsibility to cover for your sister, especially if what's implied here is that she had someone else stay with her and they were forced to pay. So it's not fair that it doesn't go the same in this direction. In general, I think that cost of living is too expensive. Obviously, I think that like all of these things should be much more affordable and it shouldn't be an issue in the first place. But unfortunately it is. People are struggling financially all over. Like, so many people are really struggling to cover the cost of living, and if you are covering for an extra person, it is going to put a lot of strain on yourself. And I think that you're absolutely within your right to be like, I don't want to do this anymore. I can't cover for someone else anymore. It's not my responsibility. Fair enough. And you can be like, that makes you selfish, that makes you a bad but like, you would do the same if it was for someone that wasn't your sister. Roommate goes into my room when I'm not home and uses my things. And here is a text conversation. So this person sent a photo of her LED face mask and said, hey, did you use my red light mask? Found it on the couch when I got home. Yeah, I did. Okay, no worries, just checking. Would you please be able to ask next time? Sorry, I don't want to be annoying. It's just that, as you know, I keep it at my bedside table and would prefer you were not going into my bedroom while I'm not home. Thanks. That seems like a very reasonable request. I find it very strange that someone would go into your room and go through your stuff while you're not home. Like, I live with my best friend. These people are not, they're like strangers. These are just roommates, not even like people that knew each other before they started living together. I don't go into her room and look through all of her shit. That's her stuff. It's her room. At home, I'm not going into my like sister's room and going through all of her stuff because boundaries. Boundaries. Yeah, don't be doing that. I think that's a reasonable request. However, she didn't seem to think so. She said, lol, okay. I didn't think it would be a big deal since we share other stuff, but okay, I'll ask next time, I guess. And to this I say, how would you feel if it was reversed? If she went into your room and started going through your bedside table, would you be very happy about it? I think probably not. Channel some of that energy. Yeah, I know we share appliances and furniture, etc. However, the things in my room are mine. I am happy to share. I would just prefer if I was asked before. Also, do you have the strap for the mask? It must have come off when you used it. I also am obsessed with equating we share everything with literally just like appliances and furniture. Like she's like, we share everything. And the things they share are like the couch and the TV and the common area. Like, yeah, the common things in the common area. Bedrooms, how are you missing the boundary so bad on like bedrooms being your own shit? Once again, I keep interrupting. Anyway, she said, no, I don't have it and also didn't see it. I just used it quickly. The other strap is not in my bedside table and I can't really use it without the other strap. I would appreciate if you had a look for it as it was quite expensive and I need it for it to be usable. I didn't see anything and I legit only used it for 10 mins, so I don't know what to tell you. Alright, well let me know if it turns up. It was $600, so I will be upset if I can't use it again because you've lost the strap. Why are you blaming this on me? Don't buy expensive shit if you can't look after it. I didn't touch the strap. I hardly used it. Okay. I fucking love. Don't buy expensive shit if you can't look after it. It was in her bedside table drawer. It was in like one of the most secure places in her bedroom. And you took it and you broke it. And somehow that's her fault. No. What do you mean? What do you mean? I also love being like, I hardly even touched it. You used it for 10 minutes. 10 minutes is not, that's not a small amount of time. Like it's not that long, but 10 minutes is a significant amount of time. That's definitely not I barely even touched it. I barely even touched it means you picked it up and you immediately put it back. It doesn't mean you used it for 10 minutes. I also love that like it was left on the couch because what I imagine happened in this situation is that she used it, the strap broke, she panicked, hid the evidence, and then like went and locked herself in her room or like went out. And in that sort of panic of breaking the really expensive LED mask, she forgot she left it out on the couch. So then when her roommate came home and was like, hey, what the fuck? She immediately had to be like, well, no, it wasn't me, obviously. I obviously used it, but like not barely. Maybe you should look after your shit. Like, girl, you just didn't hide the evidence well enough. If you really wanted to get away with it, which you wouldn't have anyway because she put it back there anyway, but like you at the very least should get the broken strap and the LED mask and put it back where you found it. And then like, it doesn't look so suspicious. You can pretend that you didn't use it and she'll know that you didn't use it, but at least it doesn't look like as much of a blatant, you know what I mean? Not encouraging you to steal stuff and to lie about it and to manipulate the situation, but I just think this is very lazy work. Why would you just leave the broken thing out? And also in general, like it's missing a strap, which obviously this girl broke. Like obviously she broke it because otherwise, as this woman said, it's unusable without the strap. And she said she used it for 10 minutes. So she obviously had the strap and clearly that shouldn't be a hard fix. So I don't know why she didn't just put it back. But you know, we can't, even if you know, she didn't break it, even if it was broken when she found it. I think that the messages are very reasonable in which, yeah, don't go into people's shit without asking. It seems like a very basic thing to understand. They also posted an update on the situation with another text conversation after they put a lock on their door. And it goes, why do you have a lock on your door now? Because I need privacy. I cannot have privacy when you are constantly going into my bedroom while I am not home. I have had conversations about this with you and you chose to ignore me, so yes, I got a lock. It was never that deep, lol. I didn't ever take anything from you. And she wrote a note saying she has. And like, yeah, we know, because in the last message, she literally said, admitted on camera, I went into your bedside table and I took your very expensive face mask and I used it for 10 minutes. So like to come back and be like, I've never taken anything. Like but you literally have. You literally said that you did. And also the fact that you have noticed and commented on the fact there's a lock on the door implies that you were like actively checking for that and are like bothered by the fact there's a lock on the door now. You know, why do you care so much if there's a lock on the door? You have taken advantage of my kindness and generosity and overstepped the boundary. I do not want you in my room under any circumstances or touching any of my things. You have proven you simply cannot be trusted. I do not respect you as a person and would appreciate if you only contacted me about matters relating to the apartment and lease. Valid boundaries. Seems as though, you know, they tried to be respected for a while and was reasonably lost. You're such a bitch. You got some nerve, lol. You are ridiculous. Don't contact me again. A day later. You're a seriously pathetic person. Treating me like a criminal? You are disgusting. Next time I speak to blank, we'll be telling her how you were treating me and we will see what she has to say about you staying in the apartment, lol. I'm assuming blank is the landlord. I already spoke to blank yesterday about putting a lock on the door. She agreed it was a good idea since you seem to find it hard to keep yourself out of my room and belongings. In future, my door will stay locked when I am not home, and if you touch a single item of mine ever again, I will drag your klepto ass into court and sue you for everything you own, including the things of mine that you have stolen or lost in the 3 years since you have lived here. See you at home. Reasonable? God, see, it would be so difficult to live in a situation like this. They have lived together for 3 years. 3 years. That would be so hard. Like, I would hate to not feel at home in my own home. You know what I mean? You're living with someone that you don't really like, that you fight with, that you like don't respect, that like steals your shit, that has the capacity and ability to go and spit in your dishes if they want to. Like, that is the situation in which you are living in. That would fucking suck. And for 3 years too. That's rough. That's fucking rough as hell, man. I hope that the situation improves and that one of you leaves and you end up with a better roommate, because just not ideal. That's really not ideal. I'm so sorry to anyone who lives in a situation where they have to like lock their door because they're afraid that the person they live with is gonna steal their shit. Like, that fucking sucks. This person just posted, I'm the only one who cooks in this house and I have no room for groceries. And the inside of their fridge is 3 shelves of just hard seltzer. Like, it's a box of hard seltzer, and then next to the boxes is just cans, and then that's 3 shelves worth, full boxes and then a bunch of cans. That's their entire fridge except for the vegetable drawer at the bottom and one other tiny drawer at the bottom. It's 3 shelves of just cans of hard seltzer. You know, my first thought naturally, obviously, is why the fuck do you have to keep all of this in the fridge? You're surely only drinking I don't think you should be drinking every single day, no matter if it's 1 glass or not. I think that if you have to have a drink every single day, you have a problem. Maybe in a week, you can maybe have a few, right? Apparently this person is drinking 2 boxes every single day. 2 boxes of hard seltzer every single day. So obviously they have a major drinking problem and they really need help with their addiction and their alcoholism. And also, I cannot imagine that hard seltzer is very good for your insides at all, outside, not even just the liver thing, just in general. So they obviously need help and an intervention and rehab. Also, there's 3 boxes in here. So if you're only drinking if you're drinking 2 boxes a day, you don't need the 3rd one in the fridge. I think you can rotate them as well. I think in general, you maybe can have 1 box in the fridge and it doesn't have to be in the boxes. Just have the cans there and take the cans out. You don't need the whole box in there. And otherwise, if you really need this many hard seltzers because you are not ready to get help for yourself, get a mini fridge. Put them in the freezer about an hour before you're gonna drink one. And do it one by one. Get one out of the freezer, put a new one in. Rotate them. There's a lot of situations in which you can do this and not be a shitty roommate. This is the thing, right? And this is the thing I always talk about when it comes to mental health issues and stuff, is that mental health is important. And it is something that we should have empathy for, and we should, offer people help and try to help them and get them the care and the help that they need and not judge them, etc. But you also need to not be making your mental health issues other people's problem in that way. You know what I mean? This person is obviously struggling and suffers from alcoholism, and that is something that they need to deal with, and it is something that they are struggling with. And at the same time, that's not an excuse to make life difficult for this other person. As a lot of you know, I'm sure, being around alcoholics, it's a really difficult thing because alcoholics can be unpredictable in how they act and when they're drinking, how they act and their aggression and whatever. So it's a really difficult topic to broach. So not only is this frustrating in the sense that he has nowhere to keep the ingredients needed for cooking and feeding himself, but also he's living with someone who is somewhat unpredictable and might be difficult to communicate with and talk to about these things. So it's really just a really difficult and hard situation. There's not very much you can do about it because if people aren't ready to confront they have an issue and do something about it, you can't really do anything. And then you're stuck in this situation where you're living with someone whom, you know, their addiction is impacting you in multiple ways, and you just kind of have to deal with it, because what can you do? If you're taking the drinks out of the freezer, if you're taking the drinks out of the fridge and putting them somewhere else, they might get, you know, agitated, angry, whatever. And so overall, there's so little to do other than come online and just complain about it, because I'm sure if he took the drinks off the shelves and put them somewhere else, he would come home to all of his food being taken out of the fridge and the drinks being put back there and someone being really mad at him. Not necessarily, like maybe a conversation could happen, but like the likelihood is that, you know, people who have alcoholism are not willing to confront or acknowledge the fact that they have alcoholism. And they also don't want to acknowledge the amount that they're drinking and like you moving it around, you know what I mean? Frustrating. And I'm really fucking sorry that this is a situation. And I hadn't really considered this as a thing of like, so many people are going to be in situations where potentially you are living with people who have, you know, a lot of mental health issues or like with addictions that is going to impact you as a person who lives in this house, and you don't always have a way to escape that situation. And that fucking sucks. And it's really hard. And it's hard obviously for everyone involved, because having an addiction sucks. But again, it's just shit. I'm fucking sorry. And I think, I didn't see the update, but I think this person ended up getting a mini fridge, and like that's a good solution, and I'm glad that he got a mini fridge for his ingredients, not for the drinks. But it shouldn't need to be how it happens. And I think overall, if anything, the person who is drinking this many alcoholic beverages and taking up the entire like common fridge, they're the one who needs to get the mini fridge. That should be their responsibility. It's that thing again of like, your like mental health issues and stuff are not other people's problems. On a very similar one to this is, I rent out rooms in my house, and this is how my last roommate left it. And after just moving out with no notice, every single person I've shown this to has gasped and upon reflection made fun of him for drinking natty ice. And it's, the entire bedroom is just covered in natty ice cans and boxes. It's like piled like shin high of just like, you'd have to wade through all these empty cans. And it's such a complex situation, because I think a lot of people don't really think too deeply when it comes to like hoarders and people whose living spaces end up being quite overrun by like rubbish and other things. I think there's a lot of taboo around it, and a lot of people like make fun of it and call it like gross and like in a mentally good state of mind, and you are struggling to like look after yourself and look after your environment. So I really do empathize with someone who is living in this situation and who is unable to take care of himself enough to like clean up the room and to find like no motivation in order to do that. And I don't think we should be like making fun of that situation or like saying that you're a bad person for allowing that to happen. However, that is not someone else's responsibility to clean up. At the end of the day, if you are living in a house and this is how your room looks by the time it is time for you to leave, it is your responsibility to organize someone coming in and fixing that. Like, if you truly cannot find it in yourself to go through and throw all those cans away or like, you know, look after the environment or anything like that, then it is your responsibility to find someone to do that for you. You cannot just get up and leave and make it someone else's problem, because that's just not how this works. You are then leaving a burden on someone else. You yourself are not a burden, right? Sometimes you end up in these places and it can be hard to ask for help and it can be hard to do something about it. But you can't just leave and not tell them that this is how it is. Like, even if you know, aren't able to sort out something to do for it because you don't know how to do it or what to do, upon leaving, you should at least like give notice in advance, being like, this is my situation, this is where like I'm mentally at, I'm really sorry, I will pay for you to like sort it out, I just can't do it, but this is what you're going to be walking into. Like, you have to do something to explain it, even if you feel shame or anything like that. Like, you can't make it someone else's problem to fix, you know what I mean? But ultimately, I do just want to point out that like sometimes people struggle and sometimes people's environments do end up like this, and it is a really difficult and hard thing to go through. You know, there's nothing to be ashamed of, and I hope you're able to like find the help that you need and get the help with that. This next one is: roommates ate my birthday cake. I am an international grad student living thousands of miles away from my family. I love cake, and being away from family means I don't really get cake over the entire year because of lack of any occasion. Fortunately, on my birthday, my brother sent me a cake through an online order. It was a big cake from Sam's Club, the 10 inches Tre leche. My roommates were aware of it being my birthday and no one wished me, which is fine, I guess. That's so sad. Like, I'm hitting pause right here. This isn't even the like crux of the issue. This isn't even the problem, but that's really fucking sad. This international student, this person who is like thousands of miles away from home, comes to stay in this new place, in this like student accommodation, and the people you live with know it's your birthday and then just deliberately like they don't say happy birthday. You don't even have to be friends. Why wouldn't you say happy birthday? I don't get that. Like, if you know, and like, especially because like you live with this person and you're not even gonna wish her a happy birthday when she has literally no one else. That makes me so mad. If I was living somewhere and I had an international student come stay with me, I would, you know, try to make them feel welcome. And she seems lovely. And I would try to make her feel welcome and definitely wish a happy birthday, not make her feel so isolated and like no one cares about her. That's so fucking sad. And I'm so sorry that your roommates fucking suck like this and that they get even worse. Anyway, in the evening, I invited all three of them to cut the cake. They showed up. They just stood there without any expressions when I cut the cake. No birthday wishes or anything. I'm gonna whack them. What the fuck? That's so fucking sad. That's so upsetting. That's so rude. I love standing around for cake. Being invited out by your roommate who is there, who knows no one, doesn't know anything, and just wants to make friends and enjoy her time studying abroad. Being like, hi, people that I live with, I got a cake because it's my birthday. I thought it would be nice if we all sat down and we shared some cake. I will cut the cake and we can all have a piece. They show up and just stand there and wait for her to give them cake. No, they don't say anything. These girls are the fucking worst. I mean, racist, likely, right? That's like what this is, right? That's what's happening here. Is that they don't want a foreigner in their house. They don't want to be friends with a foreigner, talk to a foreigner. Like, I can't think of any other factor as to why this would be an issue at all. And I'm fucking so sorry that this international student got stuck flatting with like 3 girls that are the fucking worst. Anyway, carrying on. I was torn apart and it was just sad. Anyway, I gave them some. Next day, I invited my girlfriend and a few of my actual friends for a small party. These people didn't help me at all as I was cleaning the living room for the guests, or showed the decency to put or take away their own stuff, and just sat there on the couch watching me vacuum and organize the room. Bro. At the party, as my girlfriend also bought me a smaller cake, some part of that and about half of this big cake was also remaining with leftover food. I put it in the fridge after everyone went home after the party and was planning on giving some to my girlfriend's roommate, who are actually very nice people, and keeping for myself to enjoy for a couple of days. I wake the next day to see already the half of what was left was gone during the night, including all the leftovers. I thought, that's fine. Maybe I don't give the cake to the girlfriend's roommates, and my roommates are now done with it. I ate a tiny piece and went to school, and later had my part-time job at the uni. Came back late in the night at around 8:30 p.m. and all of it was gone, including a heart-shaped donut my girlfriend had brought for me. It was all very sad and weird. Who does that? Had a regular video call with my mom. She knows I like cake and said at the end of the call that, yay, now you finally get to have some for a couple of days. I told her it's gone and she was visibly sad and mad at my roommates. Yeah, because that's so fucking sad. The heart-shaped donut your girlfriend got you as well? These roommates are fucking monsters. What the fuck? Oh my god. For what purpose? Just punishing someone for moving in. Like, if there is a 4th roommate here, there was gonna be a 4th roommate there anyway, regardless of whether they were an international student or not. Like, there was gonna be 4 of them. Are the 3 of them like really good friends and they wanted a 4th person to live with them and they got put in a different place? So they're like taking that out on this poor foreign student? Like, what the fuck is happening here? This is so cruel and so fucking sad. This person deserves so much better than this. Like, they were far too kind in general. They didn't need to invite their roommates down to begin with. I cannot imagine, like, the audacity of these girls to go in and steal birthday cake after not even wishing a happy birthday, after, like, not helping out. Like, this is just being cruel for the sake of being cruel. And this is university students too. Like, these are fucking grown adults. Student dorming, man. Student accommodation. I know sometimes it works out, but then obviously sometimes it's the fucking worst. Roommate dumps food on my belongings. I live in graduate housing at a university. I was paired randomly with 3 roommates, one of which has been stealing our food and the rest of us have all addressed it with her. We've let her know that we're happy to share, but please ask. It, however, keeps happening, and I said if it continues, I would report to housing. I never did, and it was fine for a few weeks. Just a few days ago, I started seeing my makeup and skincare in our common sink area, just on the floor, and ramen in my sink. Today I found it over my shoes. I've checked with my roommates, and the other 2 have said it's not them, and they weren't home during the time it happened either. The one in question hasn't said anything. I reached out to housing, but honestly don't know what I can do, would appreciate any advice. Like, what? Why? Why? This goes back to like the same as the first one, right? Like, what are they getting out of this? Why are they doing this? What is the purpose in that? Why is it so difficult to just be like a respectful person who understands and respects boundaries and like wants to live in a safe and welcoming environment? I don't get why you feel the need to jeopardize that just to be an ass. Like, what the fuck are you getting out of that? I hope student housing can do something, because what the fuck? Like, what can you do? What do you even do? Do you remove them from the situation? Will they get removed? Will they get given a new place to live? But then are they going to carry on this behavior and someone else gets like impacted? Like, what is the situation here? What does happen? My roommates think bill due dates are arbitrary. I live with a couple who are legitimately the worst people I've ever met. I could write a dissertation on how abusive, narcissistic, and straight up stupid they are, but I won't waste your time. It's week 2 of me asking them to send the utilities money and getting no response. The Wi-Fi bill was due on the 2nd. They knew this. Yeah, I was being petty and snarky, but I'm tired of their shit. Anyway, this is how the boyfriend chose to respond to my message about paying bills on time. Oh, and he's 30, by the way. Just FYI, the gas bill is due on the 21st. The Wi-Fi bill, however, has already been paid for the month without your contribution, as you failed to pay when asked. I'll give you until Sunday if you need time to get some money together, but after that, I will have to take you off the Wi-Fi until I receive your portion of the bill. You can spend your portion of the Wi-Fi separately from your portion of the gas bill if the combined total is too much for y'all at the moment. Sorry to have to do this, but our agreement is to split the bills. Got it, thanks. If you're unable to pay the gas bill by the time that's due as well, I'm happy to work out a payment plan, just let me know. Thank you for your considerate offer. We believe we should pay when it is necessary for us, not based on arbitrary timelines you set. If you feel this is not advantageous to you and would like to file a complaint regarding your payment timelines, please feel free to reach out to this number. And then a number that obviously they did not message. And he just replied, if you look really close on the screenshots of the bills, they have due dates. Hope this helps. Because yeah, my guy, believe it or not, your roommate is not the one deciding when the bills are charged. The bills company, like the gas company, the electric company, the water company, they set the dates and then they take money from his account. And if he doesn't have your money in his account, you can't pay the bills. You don't just pay the bills when you feel like it, bro. You're 30 years old. You should know how this works. It's really not a difficult concept to understand. Time doesn't revolve around you. The world doesn't revolve around you. You have to follow other people's timelines when it comes to this sort of shit because it affects other people. I hope that helps. Part 2 carries on to, well, midnight hit and it's technically the day the gas bill is due, so I changed the Wi-Fi password. I have their devices all blocked if they see this. Many of you suggested I apply their Wi-Fi payment to other bills they're ignoring and take them off the Wi-Fi until they can pay in full. Well, it turns out before I took them off the Wi-Fi, they had the bright idea to go to a bank and get the money in pennies. They left them outside my sister's bedroom. I'm not home. She dumped them on the floor, and then we got this text from the 30-year-old loser, thinking I'll tell them to count all the pennies in front of me. If they're short one, I cannot accept. There's only 3 months left on this lease, so sis and I are gonna break it, I think. It'll take our security deposit, but honestly, I got fabric dye all over my room anyway. So he sent PayPal saying, pay the gas, you owe me $81.59. And then they texted saying, as we can see, we can all be petty and vindictive. Right now, I am asking for a truce so we can all coexist. We do not need to pretend to be friends, but we do not need to continue this. And then a photo of all the pennies on the floor, which is obviously, what, 81 pennies? That's 800 is $1. So that's 8,184 pennies just on the floor because he's being petty, because he was asked to pay the bill. We can all be petty and vindictive. Who was petty? No one was petty. He said, pay the bills or I'll take you off the Wi-Fi. And then he did that. That's not petty. That's just the consequences of your own actions. Pay the bills or you don't receive the things that you didn't pay. You know what? Like, if you don't pay electricity, you don't get electricity. If you don't pay, like, that's how it works. You didn't pay the bill, so you don't get the if you don't buy it, you don't get it. Capitalism is unfortunately real. That is what we are living under. That is the system that exists right now. If you don't pay for something, you don't receive it. And you didn't pay for it, so you didn't get it. That's not him being petty. That's him just not wanting to pay more than he needs to because he's not paying for you to get free shit because that's not his responsibility and he can't afford to do that. So like, what was the need? Also, how do you even get this many pennies? What bank is giving you 8,000 pennies? I'm fucking confused by this. Why did they do this? Why? I'm so baffled by this. The amount of effort it must have taken to get 10,000, to get 8,000 pennies, and then to carry them home. Like, that shit would have been heavy as fuck. I have so many questions about when, where, why, how, like, what's going on? Why would you do this? But I do like the idea of, making them count them all out individually beforehand. That is quite funny. But yeah, breaking the lease is a really good idea because what the fuck? What the fuck? Yeah, these have been some bad roommate stories. Let me know if you want to see another one of these. I thought that I would do it as a Dear Kiwi thing. I thought that could be fun. So if you have any bad roommate stories that you want to share, then you can send them to Dear Kiwi, spelled Kiwi with a Q, @gmail.com. I will also leave that in the description. Then please do send me some bad roommate stories and maybe I will do a video where I'm talking about your bad stories because they're fascinating and also infuriating, so do let me know. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you are someone who has a bad roommate, I am so fucking sorry, and I hope that the situation rectifies itself. Hope you get out. Hope you get a better roommate. I hope shit works out for itself and karma works in your favor, because it must fucking suck. A huge thank you to my Kiwi Cat patrons. Aurora, Sienna, Alicia, Mirielle, Bree, Bay the Trucker, Chastity, Beckett, Prismatic Petey, Sushi, Uh-Oh, It's Crigolo, Phil the Duck, River, Queen Glimmer, Ella, Mr. Noodle, Radsack, Knitting Menace, Samuel, Chris, Ellie, Alexis, and Bobby. I love and appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe. Keep fighting. I love you. Mwah. When you close your eyes.